wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, whoever you are, leaving, cause it's no caravan of despair. Cause it's no caravan of despair. Cause it's no caravan of despair. Cause it's no
Welcome, everyone, and especially to our visitors, to this online gathering of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Bowling Green. My name is Valerie Brown, and I will be your service associate today. This is our pre-Thanksgiving service, and I give thanks for all that's good. We are a welcoming congregation. Whoever you are, however you identify, wherever you come from, and whoever you love, you are welcome here. Our Sunday services are different each week so that we can honor and learn from our wide array of traditions and beliefs. Today, our speaker is Michelle Pederson, and I will introduce her shortly. Though we walk our own path here in this place and now at this time, we journey together as one community. For Unitarian Universalists, the flaming chalice is a symbol of the light of learning and the love of our community. This morning, our chalice will be lit by Ken Kuhn.
Raise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy.
Ken will be giving our opening reading.
Hospitality is not to change people, but to offer them space where change can take place. It is not to bring men and women over to our side, but to offer freedom not disturbed by dividing lines. The paradox of hospitality is that it wants to create emptiness, not a fearful emptiness, but a friendly emptiness, where strangers can enter and discover themselves as created free. Not a subtle invitation to adopt the lifestyle of the host, but the gift of a chance for the guest to find his own.
Thank you, Ken. Forrest Halford will lead us in our first hymn, We Give Thanks.
Now, if you don't know this hymn, we're going to sing it through twice. So if you don't know it, you can join us on the second time. It's pretty straightforward.
Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and far away, for this time we shared with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
We will now have a few moments for meditation, reflection, and prayer. The singing bowl will lead us into silence. After the silence, we will sing Spirit of Life. You're welcome to sing along. community is strengthened by sharing our lives and our thoughts and feelings with each other. If you have a significant joy or sorrow or a gratitude to share, or if you'd like to introduce yourself to us, please type it into the chat box. You can also share at any time during the week by sending an email to caring@uubgky.org. Our community is also strengthened by sharing our resources. This place and the work we do is supported by the voluntary generosity of all who contribute. The offering is a sacrament of the Free Church. This offering will now be given and received in grateful appreciation for our shared hopes and values. While we listen to the offertory music, we invite you to go to the website shown on the screen and donate there, or to write a check and prepare it for mailing. We thank you for your generous gifts. May we use them wisely in the service of our congregation and our community. And throughout this week, let us be mindful of each other's joys and concerns, shared and unshared, by holding them in our minds and in our hearts, and by offering a helping hand with masks. As mentioned earlier, Unitarian Universalists have a wide array of beliefs, and the speakers at our Sunday services come from many traditions. Here to share her thoughts today is Michelle Pederson, Reverend Dr. Michelle Pederson. She is self-employed as a spiritual director at Spirit Space Nashville. She trained for spiritual direction at the Hijuka School of Spiritual Direction at the Redemptorist Renewal Center in Tucson, Arizona. Michelle received a Master of Divinity degree from Meadville Lombard Theological School in Chicago, as well as a Master of Arts and PhD in Sociology from Loyola University. Michelle completed an internship here at our UU Bowling Green Church in 2013 and 14. She is an affiliated community minister with Greater Nashville UU Congregation, where she was ordained in 2016. The power of invitation.
Good morning. An invitation is a powerful thing. It may be different for children today, I'm not sure. Growing up, we were told what we could and could not do. We weren't invited to do things at home. We may have been given choices, but they were often choices between equally undesirable things, like, do you want to wash the dishes or do you want to vacuum? As did many children, I resented always being told what to do. I couldn't wait until I was a grown-up and I could do whatever I wanted. Adulthood turned out to be just a bit different than I had anticipated. I've been reading Gretchen Rubin's book, The Four Tendencies, in which she suggests that there are four primary ways that people respond to expectations. Those outer expectations, what other people expect of us, as well as the inner expectations, what we expect of ourselves. In response to outer expectations, there are those who find great peace in having clearly delineated rules to follow. They are calmer when there are rules to follow. Others will follow rules if there are reasonable reasons to do so. And those who resist any outer expectations, not being liked to be told no. I've been thinking about these tendencies in relationship to wearing a face covering or a mask. There are those who simply wear a mask, those who will if they're given a good reason to do so, those who resent the requirement yet wear it anyway, and those who refuse. You can't tell me what to do. Many people are expressing frustration and pushing back against the external expectation or mandate. No matter the primary response to an expectation, for the most part, people respond more openly and positively to an invitation. An invitation can take many forms. It need not be extravagant, formal, or large to be powerful. Informal, short, simple invitations can be just as effective at connecting oneself to others, and it indicates to the other that they are valued. An invitation is an opening, a welcome, and can promote a sense of inclusion and belonging. Perhaps you've received an unexpected invitation to something and found that you were pleased to have been invited. Perhaps you received an invitation from someone you didn't know well and realized you'd like to get to know them better. Maybe you've been invited to do something new to you and thought, hey, I'd like to give that a try. Prior to this year, I could not have imagined accepting an invitation to preach virtually, to pre-record my sermon, or to attend church electronically. And yet, here we are doing worship through Zoom. All of us here today accepted the invitation extended earlier this year to try something different. An invitation may bring to life aspects of oneself seen through the eyes of another. Inherent in the invitation is the message, I see you, I value you, and I would like to be a part of something with you. Last year, I was invited to join the board of directors of Peniel Ridge Retreat Center here in Ashland City, Tennessee. The executive director saw something in me and my ministry that would be supportive to the work of the retreat center. Now, joining the board of directors was not something that had ever crossed my mind. It wasn't until I was invited to consider it that I saw ways that I could be useful to the organization. It can be quite difficult to see something in oneself until someone else points it out to us. When seeking volunteers to sign up for something, making a personal invitation to a particular person, telling them why you thought of them and thought of this role for them is much more successful than simply putting out a request for volunteers. An invitation may shape how someone experiences an opportunity. At my first spiritual direction session, the director invited us to share some silence together at the beginning, and that I was to end the silence whenever I felt ready. That invitation was a surprise to me. At first, I felt a bit uncomfortable because it was a new situation to me. During the silence, I worried that I was going to take too much silence. Then I worried that I would end the silence too quickly. Over time, I grew to really value and cherish the experience of shared silence with my spiritual director. Through that invitation, I began to feel a deeper connection to my own spirit, a deeper connection to my spiritual director, to the web of existence, and to my own higher power. The invitation to silence opened up for me a way to center and ground in the moment before beginning to talk. Now, as a spiritual director myself, I invite my clients to begin the session with silence. Out of this silence, one client ends by making her own invitation to spirit. She invites something into our session, such as a spirit of love, spirit of gentleness, a spirit of compassion, a spirit of understanding. Her invitation provides an opening for what she wants to welcome into the session and into her life. It helps to focus our time together toward what is really present with her soul that day. There is healing power in an invitation to conversation. As a chaplain, I made random visits in the hospital, stopping in just to say hello. In asking what's going on with you, I invite patients to share whatever is present for them at that moment. Often at the end of the conversation, the patient states, "I didn't know how much I needed that." Inviting someone to share their experience and offering a listening ear is an invitation to a deeper connection. This invitation says, "I see you and value what you have to say." An invitation can promote healing for self, healing of relationship with others, and with the spirit of life. A few years ago, in prayer, a colleague invited a year of healing in her life. At the time, she said she wasn't sure what that really meant. Over the course of the next year, she was presented with a variety of health challenges that she was previously unaware of. Invitation can bring surprising opportunities for growth. An invitation can ignite the imagination, passion, curiosity, and hope. In this poem, Aurora Levins Morales invites us to imagine another world. She writes, "Say these words when you lie down and when you rise up, when you go out and when you return, in times of mourning and in times of joy. Inscribe them on your doorposts, embroider them on your garments, tattoo them on your shoulders, teach them to your children, your neighbors, your enemies. Recite them in your sleep, here in the cruel shadow of empire. Another world is possible." Thus spoke the prophet Rock Dalton. "Altogether they have more death than we, but altogether we have more life than they. There is more bloody death in their hands than we could ever wield, unless we lay down our souls to become then. And then we will lose everything. So instead, imagine winning. This is your sacred task. This is your power. Imagine every detail of winning, the exact smell of the summer streets in which no one has been shot, the muscles you never unclenched from worry, gone soft as newborn skin. The sparkling taste of food when we know that no one on earth is hungry, that the beggars are fed, that the old man under the bridge and the woman wrapping herself in thin sheets in the back seat of a car, and the children who suck on stones, nest under a flock of roofs that keep multiplying their shelter. Lean with all of your being towards that day when the poor of the world shake down a rain of good fortune out of the heavy clouds, and justice rolls down like waters. Defend the world in which we win as if it were your child. It is your child. Defend it as if it were your lover. It is your lover. When you inhale and when you exhale, breathe the possibility of another world into the 37.2 trillion cells of your body until it shines with hope. Then imagine more. Imagine rape is unimaginable. Imagine war is a scarcely credible rumor, that the crimes of our age, the grotesque inhumanities of greed, the sheer and astounding shamelessness of it, the vast fortunes made by stealing lives, the horrible normalcy it came to have, is unimaginable to our heirs, the generations of the free. Don't waver. Don't let despair sink its sharp teeth into the throat in which you sing. Escalate your dreams. Make them burn so fiercely that you can follow them down any dark alleyway of history and not lose your way. Make them burn clear as a starry drinking gourd over the grim fog of exhaustion and keep walking. Hold hands. Share water. Keep imagining so that we and the children of our children's children may live. That powerful invitation gives me hope. Hope for the future. It reminds me why I am in ministry, why I continue to promote the abolition of the death penalty, why I continue to work toward a transformed legal system, why I continue to attempt to dismantle systems of oppression. I'm not likely to see the end of many of those structures of oppression in my lifetime, yet I will continue to do this work. This poem is an invitation to me, to you, to the universe. This is an invitation that I must accept, an invitation to dream big while taking the next small step today. An invitation to oneself and to the universe can shape our own experiences. At the beginning of the session, my YouTube yoga instructor suggests setting an intention for our practice. She asks, what do you want to invite from the universe? This invitation helps to focus each of us individually and communally. In just more than 6 weeks, we will enter 2021. I know for some of you, it cannot come soon enough. This has been a challenging year. At the end of 2019, I spent some time contemplating what I wanted to welcome in 2020. As I reflected on what had occurred over the previous year, I set intentions for the upcoming year. I invited into 2020 self-compassion, bridge building, and healing. Those were the attributes that I wanted to welcome into my life, and they became vital for the year. I invited compassion as I learned how to be in this quickly changing and dangerous world. I was presented with opportunities to build bridges rather than walls between myself and others, particularly those that I do not agree with. And I invited healing for myself, healing of relationships, and healing of the world. As we approach the end of 2020, I invite you to consider what it is you would like to welcome into your life in the coming year. This year has been challenging for every single person. No one has escaped from dramatic changes to their lives and to the lives of those around us. The pandemic, the election, natural disasters, and so much more has us gripped in fear, anxiety, and anger. These are all natural and understandable to the world in which we find ourselves. Holding tight to those emotions, though, causes constriction in our bodies and constriction in our hearts. We may find that our muscles are tense, that our jaws clenched, that our shoulders are up around our ears. Constriction keeps us from being open to others. In this state, another's ideas, perceptions, explanations, and ideas are not welcome. In this state, we are not open to invitation. Amidst all that is going on, it can be challenging to remain open to ourselves and open to others, to be willing to offer or to accept invitation. Just as invitation can extend welcome, belonging, and inclusion, invitations not extended can result in feelings of alienation and exclusion. Here's an example. Say your coworker talks with you extensively about their upcoming wedding plans. They share with you the preparation details. They ask your advice about different aspects of the event. And for months, you share in their excitement about the upcoming day. Then you realize that you're not actually invited to the event. Suddenly, what felt like a shared experience becomes something entirely different. You may begin to question your relationship with your coworker. Sometimes invitation cannot be extended. As do many of you, I'm sure, I would love to have an in-person chat or spend time with family and friends. That just isn't possible right now. Thanksgiving, occurring later this week, will look likely quite different for many of us. Most years we share a Thanksgiving potluck meal at church. That won't happen this year. So I'm considering other ways to extend invitation to share time and story. In this virtual world that we find ourselves, the sheer number of invitations to meetings, webinars, classes, trainings, opportunities to learn and engage can be quite overwhelming. Not every invitation needs to be or even can be accepted. Sometimes the best thing is to not accept. There are always competing invitations, competing for our limited time, our limited resources, commitment, and passion. It is okay to turn down some invitations in order to give our full attention and presence to others. An invitation may not be in our best interest. As Valerie Carr, founder of the Revolutionary Love Project, states in her new book, See No Stranger, the question, therefore, is not whether or not to listen to our opponents. The questions are, what is my role to listen? When am I emotionally and physically safe? When can I take on the labor of listening when others are not safe to do so? We can all be one another's accomplices. At any given time, there are some opponents I cannot wonder about. I need others to do that labor for me as I attend the wounds they inflict. But there are some opponents I find I am in a position to listen to. In these moments, it is time to turn to the practice of how. It begins with the art of listening to stories. An invitation is a powerful thing. Used well, it can promote feelings of belonging, value, and connection. An invitation may promote healing for oneself and healing with others. Invitations are powerful tools to ignite a sense of wonder, curiosity, and hope. And so here is my invitation to you. I invite you to be gentle with yourself and gentle with others. There is so much going on right now for everyone. I invite you to keep going. Every step, no matter how small, counts. I invite you to believe that you are doing a good job. I invite you to embrace hope, to share your stories, and to listen to the stories of others. So be it. Amen.
And thank you, Michelle, for sharing your thoughts with us today. That will give us food for thought through the coming week. We will now have our final hymn led by Forrest Halford. We gather together.
Unitarian Universalists are notorious for changing the words in hymns, and in the spirit of the times that we live in, I've decided that we're going to change the words of this hymn, but only the first little 3 words. Instead of we gather together, we are going to sing, we're keeping our distance.
We're keeping our distance in joyful thanksgiving, reclaiming creation whose bounty we share. Both sorrow and gladness we find now in our living. We sing a hymn of praise to the life that we share. We're keeping our distance to join in the journey, confirming, committing our passage to be a true affirmation in joy and tribulation. We bound to human care and hope, then we are free.
Our final reading will be given by Ken Kuhn.
The blessing of the well. If you stand at the edge of this blessing and call down into it, you will hear your words return to you. If you lean in and listen close, you will hear this blessing give the story of your life back to you. Quiet your voice, quiet your judgment, quiet the way you always tell your story to yourself. Quiet all these, and you will hear the whole of it and the hollows of it, the spaces in the telling, the gaps where you hesitate to go. Sit at the rim of this blessing, press your ear to its lip, its sides, its curves, that were carved out long ago by those whose thirst drove them deep, those who dug into the layers with only their hands and hope. Rest yourself beside this blessing, and you will begin to hear the sound of water entering the gaps. Still yourself, and you will feel it rising up within you, filling every emptiness, springing forth anew.
As our gathering ends, Ken will extinguish the flame in our chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts wherever we go. Go in gratitude, go in peace, go in service to others, go in love. Until we meet again.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the love we have surround you everywhere, everywhere.